You're streaming live now from Fox, everybody. You're hearing the voice of Regina Gonzalez with you from Orlando, Florida. However, we are going to be heading out to Boston for this next live report we have for you because facing a potential fraud investigation by the state of Florida, GoFundMe has reversed a decision to redistribute money given by thousands of donors to the Canadian Freedom Convoy protesting COVID-19 regulations. So this has been a topic making headlines for the last several days. And in order to kind of break down what we are learning as of this morning, I do want to welcome into the conversation Fox News correspondent Molly Line as she joins us live from Boston. Molly, good morning to you. How are you doing? Thank you for being with us.
Good morning, Regina. We have been tracking this Freedom Convoy for more than 10 days now. That's how long they've been going. With really an impressive protest that has been ongoing for all of this time. The demonstration there on Parliament Hill in Ottawa causing significant challenges, not just for the police, but also for the government authorities there that have been working really hard to put an end to this. The Ottawa mayor now declaring a state of emergency, saying that this reflects the serious danger and threat to the safety and security of residents posed by the ongoing demonstrations and highlights the need for support from other jurisdictions and levels of government. Levels of government all the way up to the Prime Minister Trudeau have failed to put an end to these demonstrations. The horns continue to honk, the trucks continue to block the streets around Parliament Hill, and this continues to go on, Regina.
Yeah, and you know, Molly, when it comes to the latest with GoFundMe, can you explain to our viewers how the donation platform has been involved and really why they decided to make this decision?
Yeah, this has been one of the most fascinating angles of this story. So this enormous Freedom Convoy captures the attention all over the globe. A GoFundMe page is set up, and for those familiar with GoFundMe, you know, you can go on there, create a page for just about anything to help someone with the bills for their cat that has to go to the veterinarian, or in this case, this massive demonstration that has captured attention all across the world. The intention of the GoFundMe page was to provide food, fuel for the truckers involved in this protest. And GoFundMe allowed the money to come pouring in. Nearly 10 million in Canadian dollars ultimately came in. Then GoFundMe decided that that didn't meet their standards, and this was going to be initially put on pause. They were investigating it. They paused the donations coming in. They allowed $1 million to be distributed, and then ultimately decided they would no longer allow this fundraiser to continue. The big controversy came in when it was declared that the money that had already been there in the GoFundMe fundraiser that was raised would be distributed to charities instead of course, what the people who donated intended the money for. That caused an enormous controversy. Accusations of thievery and hypocrisy poured into GoFundMe, particularly from Republican lawmakers, Republicans here in the United States, saying that this isn't fair and that it shows a double standard on the part of GoFundMe. Ultimately, GoFundMe acquiesced, they relented, and determined that this money would actually be given back to the donors that sent it. Regina?
Yeah, and Molly, I feel like in retrospect that would make the most sense. If something happens with this donation campaign, the money just goes back to the people that sent it. And you mentioned the response from mostly Republican lawmakers. Perhaps the greatest I want to ask you about being from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. What can you say about the fact that he is now investigating this company?
Yeah, you know, the governor there in Florida, not alone. There are 5 attorneys general that have announced investigations into GoFundMe. And Florida Governor Republican Ron DeSantis has talked about his attorney general going after this, Ashley Moody. This is a tweet sent by the governor. He says, "It is a fraud for GoFundMe to commandeer $9 million in donations sent to support truckers and give it to causes of their own choosing. I will work with AG Ashley Moody to investigate these deceptive practices. These donors should be given a refund." Ultimately, that's what happened. But it has really garnered a lot of attention for GoFundMe, perhaps not what they would have wanted as people look to this site, and if that's how if they trust GoFundMe now to do what they say they're going to do with the dollars that are sent to the site.
And Molly, have we gotten any specific statement or remarks from anybody with GoFundMe regarding this situation?
They have put out statements. Sorry, I don't have one directly in front of me right now to read precisely what their response was. But ultimately, this is what they decided and said that you don't have to come forward anymore and ask for your refund. They're going to automatically send the dollars back in whatever purview that they make that happen. You know, another angle of this story is the challenge that the Ottawa police have been facing in the effort to shut down this demonstration. The chief of police last week talked about all options being on the table, including bringing in the military. That was pushed back on by other public officials as to that actually occurring. But there have been a number of arrests, at least half a dozen over the weekend. And there was also a warning issued advising the public that anyone that actually brings fuel to this demonstration in the red zone to the trucks could be subject to arrest. So it's pretty interesting to see this all unfolding, and it continues to unfold. This doesn't seem to be close to a conclusion. Regina?
Yeah, and Molly, I feel like another crucial angle is the fact of what could happen to the economy if none of these truck drivers are continuing to do their jobs. Am I right?
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has talked about the truckers that have been vaccinated, which he says are 90% of the truckers in the country. He's issued thank yous to those truckers. So it'll be interesting to see what the impact is, not just on the economy in Canada, but also here in the U.S., because the mandate there was about cross-border vaccination. And then it grew into sort of more of an overall pushback against vaccination mandates and power in Canadian government and that sort of thing. So it's become a broader protest. But ultimately, you're right. It'll be interesting to see what impact this has if a lot of these truckers continue to sit in place instead of getting back out there on the Canadian roads. Regina?
Definitely. Well, definitely a story that we are going to be keeping tabs on. So, Molly, we thank you for joining us this morning live to keep our viewers up to speed. You stay warm out there, and we'll definitely be in touch with your team. Have a good day.
Thanks, Regina.